So the world is inverted, right? And so the powers at work have created it to be so that everything would be inverted. And so that we are to be distracted. And so that we don't really have the time to go within and awaken to the power that we hold, right? So that we don't come here and do what we're supposed to do, which is master ourselves, master our energy, right? And then manipulate energy for the highest good and harm to none by manifesting the reality that we want for ourselves. Basically, bringing our dreams into this reality. So, if you think about it, let me give you this right here, this singing bowl. This was an idea before it came to play. Let's hit the singing bowl. I'm practicing. This was like an idea, right? And then it manifested into reality. Somebody brought it to life, but they thought about it first, right? The same thing with our dreams and visions. We think about them, we plan them out, and then we bring them into reality, right? And so I say this because the way that the systems are set up is for us to be occupied and doing other things at all times. Even with the educational system, we are groomed from a very young age to, be in school for a certain amount of hours, elementary, junior high, high school, then college, right? And then that system sets us up to going and be employed for someone else, right? For those 8 hours as well, right? And then from there, we are groomed also to, think that we are going to be married, have the white picket fence, have the children, go on holidays here and there, right? And so within that and then we're also groomed to attend church, which is nothing wrong with attending church, right? For whatever floats your boat, right? The thing is that we're not groomed to go within. That's what I'm saying, right? We're not taught to go within. We're not taught certain things until it's usually too late, right? So usually when you hear the doctor saying, well, you must exercise, usually it's like when you're older in age, right? You must remove this out of your diet, is because you're like older in age or you're suffering from some type of illness, right? And at this point, it's basically treating whatever it is that is happening. So it's kind of like you've gone a little bit farther down the road, right? So now I bring this to account because there's a certain... Remember how in the previous video I was saying that they need to keep us either in fear, upset, enraged, or in a slumber? They don't care which one it is, right? The reason being that this world here, in order for... everything is vibration, everything is energy. And in order for the magic that these people do to work, we have to be at the frequency that this magic operates in, right? And everything is magic. When we speak, there's power in our tongue. Okay? That's just the reality of it. The moment that we come to realize that, hey, when I speak, there's power in my tongue, usually, like, let's say, look at when you're scrolling on social media, right? When you scroll, right, more of what you scroll of comes on, right? The same thing. Let's say for a moment you're thinking about someone, and then that person calls you, and you're like, I called you with my mind, right? Or you say, I wanna eat this, and then somebody brings it to you, right? They're not coincidences. Nothing is a coincidence. We have more power than we think, right? So these people know this. This is what occult knowledge is. This is what people go and sign up to secret societies, organizations, and stuff like that to learn, so that they can manipulate other people's free will. Now, the thing is that we're all here to do that. Not manipulate other people's free will, but manipulate energy for our highest good and harm to none. But first, we have to master ourselves, right? And so the point of this message is to bring out awareness that there are groups of people, certain cultures that have always been oppressed, right? That have always been kept oppressed in fear, enraged, right? And so we need to start thinking about that, because if you look at individuals who claim to be chosen, right, you would realize that these people usually are people who are oppressed, people who are casted out from their families, people who are scapegoats, people who are rejected, just like in the Bible. You understand what I'm saying? Except that things have changed. These, in the Bible, the prophets, they were persecuted. They were like, I haven't like, I know this from the Bible. They were persecuted, right? And so God's chosen individual, they're individuals who are persecuted, who are rejected by society, rejected by humanity. They're usually not loved by the people in their hometowns. They're not seen. They're oppressed. Their history shows that this has been the case for certain races here in America and all over the world, right? There's a song by Kanye West that I was listening to the other day, and in his song he says, "In this white man's world, we're the ones that's chosen," right? We cannot awaken to our power if we keep living in guilt. We cannot awaken to our power if we keep focusing on the hurt, on the betrayal, on the oppression. It's time to go within and awaken to the power that we truly hold. Because this is something that we can only do for ourselves. Nobody can do it for us. Right? I'm going to leave it with that.